Well, that was quite the announcement, wasn't it? 7 terrestrial planets, all roughly the size of the Earth, found in orbit around the same star. A star named after a telescope, named after a beer, named after monks, no less. The star is an ultra-cool dwarf. No, really, it's even dimmer and cooler than Proxima Centauri, having about 1/10 its luminosity and 80% its surface temperature. Its planets are huddled very close to it. The innermost has an orbit of just 1.5 days, while the outermost has an orbit of just 20 days. They all have relatively low orbital eccentricities. They'd have to, or they'd crash into each other, so they're all very likely in synchronous rotation. That said, they're so close to one another that gravity likely plays tricks on their orbits, so we don't really know for sure. Because they tug at each other so often, we were able to learn their masses, something not usually possible for a transiting planet. And that's how we found out they were all roughly Earth-size. Some of them are about as close to each other as we are to our own moon, meaning night skies on these planets must be pretty spectacular. The best news? 3 were found in the star's habitable zone, where liquid water could exist. Excitingly, they were all found using the transit method, which means we will be able to read their atmospheres. We've already learned that their atmospheres contain no hydrogen, which means they're unlikely to be Neptune-type ice worlds, a good sign for habitability. The middle habitable zone planet, known as TRAPPIST-1F, gets about as much sunlight over its 9-day orbit as Mars gets. And that's pretty much all we know for now. As such, I'd like to hold off talking about them in detail for the moment, as any video I make about them will just retread info I already mentioned in my video on Proxima b. They're potentially habitable planets in orbit around a red dwarf star. See previous for more information. There will no doubt be a storm of info in the next few months and years as the spectrographic results come in, so this will almost certainly not be my last video on the subject. Interestingly, the star is called TRAPPIST-1 because it was the first star with a transiting system the TRAPPIST telescope ever found, despite the fact that it had been searching since 2010. That shows you just how hard most transiting planet surveys are. NASA managed to snag the glory for this, though, thanks to follow-up observations by the Spitzer Space Telescope. I'll be sure to keep you updated as I learn more. Good nights!